Sounds True presents Mindfulness, Guided Practices for Awakening, with the co-founder of the Insight Meditation Society, Joseph Goldstein.
This series of guided meditations will explore the practices of Vipassana, or insight meditation. These meditations are all rooted in one discourse of the Buddha called the Satipatthana Sutta, which is usually translated as the 4 ways of establishing mindfulness, or the 4 foundations of mindfulness. Although in English the term mindfulness may seem to indicate something quite ordinary and even prosaic, the quality of mind it refers to has tremendous transforming power in our lives. The Buddha opens the discourse on mindfulness, the Satipatthana Sutta, with these words: "This is the direct path for the purification of beings, for the surmounting of sorrow, for the disappearance of pain and grief, for the attainment of the true way, for the realization of nibbana, awakening, namely, the 4 foundations of mindfulness." Given the magnitude and import of this declaration, this is the direct path to liberation, you can understand the value the Buddha placed on the meditations outlined in this teaching. The 4 ways of establishing mindfulness include awareness of the body, of feelings, of mind, and of different categories of experience, here called dharmas, such as the hindrances, the sense spheres, the factors of awakening, and others. Within each of these 4 foundations of mindfulness, the Buddha teaches a variety of methods and techniques that help to free the mind from different kinds of suffering, that help to establish the heart and mind in peace. The guided meditations offered here will touch on all of these aspects, sometimes explicitly referenced and sometimes simply alluded to. As you practice these trainings, both in times of formal sitting practice and throughout the day, the depth and understanding of their potential gradually grows and deepens. Mindfulness of the body is the first of the 4 ways of establishing mindfulness and causing it to develop. There are many benefits of using the body as an object of awareness. The Buddha referred to mindfulness of the body as a source of joy, leading onward to deepening concentration. He also spoke of mindfulness of the body as being the simplest and most direct way for overcoming the forces of delusion and ignorance in the mind. After the Buddha's death, Ananda, his beloved cousin and close attendant for many years, remarked that mindfulness of the body can truly be considered one's best friend. And we can see for ourselves how in the midst of wild thought proliferation, we can always come back to the simplicity of mindfulness of the body. It's the very simplest and most accessible aspect of what's already here. As a preliminary exercise in mindfulness of the body, as you're sitting, simply move your arm. Nothing special, just a simple movement. Do you know that you're moving it? How do you know? Because you feel something. Move slowly. Move the arm quickly. And notice how the knowing of each movement is effortless. As we continue through all the exercises of this series of guided meditations, keep in mind how very simple all this is. We'll begin this first guided meditation with an instruction found in the refrain that follows each section of the Satipatthana Sutta. Here, this refrain is referring specifically to the first foundation of mindfulness, that is mindfulness of the body. In the refrain it says, "Mindfulness that there is a body is established to the extent necessary for bare knowledge, or clear knowing, and continuous mindfulness." Bare knowledge here means the simple and direct knowing of what is present, without getting lost in all our stories about experience. This one line from the refrain gives some important guidelines for our practice. First, we begin with the simple awareness, there is a body, settling into the felt sense of the body sitting in a relaxed and open way. Second, we do this just to the extent necessary for bare knowledge and continuous mindfulness. This reminds us to stay simple. It doesn't require struggle or over-efforting. It's the same relaxed knowing as when we moved our arms and felt the arm moving. Take a comfortable sitting posture. Settle into the awareness of your body sitting. And be aware and possibly even note there is a body. Simply feeling the body sitting. This awareness, there is a body, is something like the skeletal framework of a house before the walls are put up. We're grounded in this framework. There is a body, and still open to whatever arises within it. So as you're sitting, feeling the body, noting from time to time there is a body as a way of feeling into it, be receptive to all the sounds that you may hear. There may be background sounds. There may be some loud intermittent sounds. There's the sound of my voice. Sit with the awareness there is a body. Feeling yourself sitting. And in that field of awareness, become mindful of the different sounds that may arise. If you sit and know you're sitting, the whole of the Dharma will be revealed. Settling into awareness of the body with this framework, there is a body, allows the mind to relax and settle in to an open, receptive space in which the feeling of the body becomes apparent. We begin to notice the sounds that are arising and passing away. With this framework of experience, we can then explore the first section of mindfulness of the body, which begins with a series of progressive instructions on mindfulness of breathing. Here the Buddha is pointing to an invaluable and often overlooked treasure in our lives, namely our own breath. It's interesting to notice how often in our lives we simply ignore the breath, or in our meditation may be bored by it. And yet each breath is actually sustaining our lives. This is not a poetic or metaphysical description. It is actually what's happening. As we begin to systematically pay attention to this moment-to-moment life-giving process, we settle into ever deeper understandings of ourselves. The first instruction the Buddha gave